folks, I've got with me a very grand man of the jive scene. He's the lead singer. I think he's a songwriter as well because a lot of his stuff has been coming out on YouTube during the pandemic and even prior. But the first time that I saw him and his bandmates was on America's Got Talent on stage doing the rehearsal.
Ian.
Ian?
Yeah, Ian.
Okay. So, Ian, when did you guys actually start? Because it's a little bit foggy as to how long you were doing the Jive Aces together.
Well, to cut a long story short, we've been going quite a long while. Me and the drummer were at school together. We met Ken, the bass player, and the sax player when we were about 15, 16, and we were playing in bands on and off all the time, different incarnations until it became the Jive Aces. And then we've been the same lineup for around 27 years or something like that. So we've been going a long time.
If I remember correctly, I know there's a piano that's used. The one I saw was a grand piano that was mounted on stage for the performance. But you also have a stand-up upright bass. You've got a drummer, and I can't remember the other musical instruments that you were using at the time. Your ensemble is made up of how many members?
Well, including Grazia, the seven of us, but basically, and the boys. There's me, and I sing, play ukulele and trumpet. Then we have Vince, who plays the piano, the professor, we call him. And we have Ken, who plays the double bass, the upright bass, as you said, which I've got in here somewhere. We can, and in the studio. And then we have Big John Fordham, who plays the tenor saxophone. And we have Alex Douglas, who plays the trombone. And did I forget anyone? Other than Grazia, Grazia plays the accordion, you know. Grazia
nice.
Plays the accordion on our recent single and video, La Vie en Rose. And I think that was everybody, wasn't it? Yeah. And Peter on the drums, banging on the skins, as we call them.
Now, I understand that your band is coming to the U.S., not Canada, but probably down south or down in the middle. Where are you starting?
South. Unfortunately, not Canada this time. We need some Canadians to book us so we can come back. We have been, but not for a long while. We're going to be in the US in April, where we leave here at end of March, and we're there basically all of April.
Oh, really? Is it cross America tour, or is it just in certain spots?
No, we go pretty much all over, and we normally come over at least once a year and go all over the place. This year we're going to be in LA, where we're going to be finishing an album and doing a couple of gigs. Then we go over to Florida, New York. We're in Washington D.C., Virginia, North Carolina, and then we fly back to California, and then we're in sort of the LA area, Orange County. All that sort of thing. We go to Vegas for the Viva Las Vegas Rockabilly weekend, big festival.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And while in LA, we play a competition called the Writers of the Future competition, which is a science fiction writing competition. And we're playing for the awards for that. All over the place.
That's amazing. It's going to be a tiring April for you guys, but nonetheless, it's going to be fun to hear hear and see more than anything else off YouTube. People are going to be taking pics, taking videos, posting it, saying the Jive Aces were here.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I know the last album that you guys produced was in 2018. It was a volume 2 of, I think it was Roots. of jazz.
Digging the roots, yeah.
Yeah, and you're coming up with a brand new one, which is 6 years from the last one, which is nice because I've had people that I did interviews with. They came out 20, 10, 15 years after they did their last album. So the question that I'd like to ask you is, did you actually compose and start it during the pandemic, or was it done in the last year or so?
Well, this album was actually we recorded it in LA. So we started recording it in LA in a lovely studio in Hollywood, originally owned by Chick Corea, the piano player. So it's perfect for acoustic sounding instruments, beautiful piano. So we started recording it, and then the pandemic happened and we couldn't go to America. And it took a long while to get back to America. And then when we went back to America in 2022, the studio wasn't open. So then basically last year we finally finished it. Now mixed and mastered. And Grazia has just handed it to me because it was being printed and it arrived at our studio this afternoon.
Oh, nice.
Right. No one has seen this. Even half the band haven't seen this yet. And I'm allowed to show it. Shall I show it? I can show it. Okay, so I just got a design for the cover. I don't know if you will see it very well there.
Oh, nice.
It's got a lovely Art Deco sort of, or actually like a 1950s, one of those travel advert posters.
What is there a title for the CD already?
The title is called "Keeping the Show on the Road."
Well entitled.
And exactly, and it was a song that I wrote after the pandemic, when we got back on the road and had to get back out again and start working, and really had to get going to keep the show on the road. And also for other musicians and everybody really who had to get back into the normal world again and get whatever their lives were together, keeping the show on the road.
Yeah, trying to catch the energy back from their fans, because people enjoy live music more than they enjoy televised, which was one of the things.
Oh yeah, look, Grazia's got a pig. This is the cover that will be for the vinyl. We haven't got the vinyl yet, but that's
nice.
The design. If you can see it, so it's keeping the show on the road. So you've got like a 1950s, 1940s, 1950s vintage bus.
Nice.
Traveling through the beautiful mountains, which is what it's like all the time when we'll be touring through America.
I know one thing that I failed to mention is that I was one of, well, I can't say the biggest fan, because there's probably somebody out there that's bigger than I am, but I enjoyed every single video that you produced for YouTube specifically.
Wow.
It was entertaining. It was well put together in many cases, and actually all the cases. That now that I think about it, and the single "La Vie en Rose," when it was made available, I decided to play it because the radio station I work with and the people that listen to my show across Canada are French mostly. But my music is, I'd say, 50 to 75% English, because French musicians that sing in French are few and far between, for some odd reason. Here in Canada, anyways. You'd expect Quebec, which is French, to actually have a lot more French talent in jazz and blues. They do, but a lot of the musicians, a lot of the singers, the songwriters, if they don't compose in French, they don't sing it in French. They sing it in English, or they do covers of English songs. They don't do any justice to their langue de mer, as we say in French. I'm French Canadian, bilingual, in New Brunswick, which is east of Maine. So it's fun to actually hear and see people such as you and the people around you willing to actually do travel internationally, which is, to say the least, expensive. And logistically, it's semi a nightmare sometimes if you don't plan it properly.
But it's expensive and it's a lot of hard work, but we love it, so it's not really work at all. And I love, especially after the pandemic, when suddenly we were like, in 2022 we were back in America doing the tour, which was postponed from 2020, and I went from not driving much at all to driving through Arizona and driving through Texas with a truck on either side of you, with music playing. It was like, yeah, Hawaiian shirt in the heat, driving a van with trucks all around you and rock and roll on the CD player. Well, not even the CD player, on the van. Yeah, fantastic.
So the what did I want to ask? The album itself has how many tracks for the current edition?
Oh, it's got 14.
14. And how many of those are original compositions?
On this one, only one of them's our composition, which is the Keeping the Show on the Road.
Okay.
And the reason is because this is an album of, we decided to do this. It's an album of songs that we've done for a long time in the show. Mainly, a lot of them have a lot of showmanship and or particularly good and full of energy and live. And people always ask for them. And some of them we didn't record for a while because we thought, oh, can we capture that energy on recording? And we did. But we had to work out we did it. We did a sort of a more live recording. And we worked out how to do it. And so basically there's just one song which we wrote, Keeping the Show on the Road, to go with it, and the rest of them are all songs which mainly which are covers, which we get requested for, and they always ask after the show, have you got a recording of this? Have you got a recording of this? Yeah. So all sorts of interesting ones which are known from our show, that have, like Bumble Boogie, which is a piano where Vince, our piano player, takes a classical song, Flight of the Bumblebee, and plays a boogie woogie version of it. But it works beautifully live, and it's full of energy, but it's very precise and wild at the same time. And
wow.
Jumps all over the place while doing it. So we thought, how do you capture that? And we worked out how to do it. So it's all songs like that, really. And the LP will also have 14 tracks on it as well, especially made.
Cripes. What about Gracias? Is she going to be playing in the show too, since she plays a musical instrument, or is she going to be singing? Or
she sings a bit, but mainly she plays the accordion, and she's playing on a few of the tracks and in the show.
Nice.
Right? But one of the songs, La Vie en Rose, which is a song, huh? Une chanson française.
Oui, it's traditional. It's been done by many people, but you guys did a nice spin on it. You didn't go super fast. You kept it lively, which was even better, because then after the melodic bits that you introduced the song with, where you play on your ukulele and you sing, eventually it goes into more musical instruments and then a little upbeat version, which is quite fun to actually listen to and dance to as well.
Exactly, yeah, and a lot of people are dancing to it. In England, because we already sort of released that as a single with the video, and it's getting a lot of play at rock and roll and swing dances. So a lot of people are dancing to it, and it's getting played on the radio over here in England, which is great. So hopefully we'll get over there.
Well, no doubt for that. I know here in Canada we already have it. And I've been making sure that you're on the playlist almost on a monthly basis at once. But with this particular interview, it's gonna probably be a full month of Jive Aces tunes being played.
Thank you.
So coming back to the human aspect, you're a human being more than a musician, although both are kind of intermingling. Do you actually have time for hobbies other than playing musical instruments or doing music?
Do I have time for any hobbies? Huh? No, really. Yeah, Grazia makes
Flowers, okay.
artificial flowers, like the song Artificial Flowers, Bobby Darin. So and then she like to go in her hair and stuff.
Okay.
And we do. I mean, the thing is, my hobby was always, or one of my main hobbies was always music anyway. So playing, I already played the trumpet and sang, and then when I started playing ukulele, actually that was a hobby because I thought, oh great, it's something I'm not doing on stage. And then we released Bring Me Sunshine, and it became a big viral hit, and everyone wanted to see me playing the ukulele. So, and then suddenly the ukulele was really, became really trendy. So my hobby again became, which I don't mind. I used to do art. I used to do drawing and
Okay.
comic book art and things like that. I don't have much time for that anymore, although I do appreciate it. I'm always trying to start stuff like that. I read a lot though. I've started reading a lot, especially since the pandemic. A lot of people watch TV, although I like a good Star Wars thing or on Disney or something on Netflix. I started reading a lot of more diverse, interesting, not just fiction, but non-fiction as well, to sort of like just different things to learn stuff, which
Okay.
is really interesting. Like,
Okay.
so that's it's not a very active hobby, but then most of the time I'm either driving or rehearsing or jumping around on stage. Um, you know, after the pandemic, I had to do a little bit of working out because
Yeah.
normal athletic. When we first went out on stage again after the 2 years or a year and a half in the pandemic, it was like, oh wow, the live stream wasn't very tiring, but going back on stage is. We didn't realize how athletic we were, but now we're back to doing that. So that's the working out part, really. Oh, come on.
So the whole thing of you having to do physical activity is, folks, if you've never seen them live, it's worth the show because they do provide oodles and oodles of entertainment while they're doing their show. Like he said, it's a lot of music, but it's also so I won't say gonzo because it means it's super crazy, but it's crazy enough. I mean, they're active. There's no standing still or sitting down on a seat other than the piano player once in a while.
Yeah,
Although
even the piano player stands up most of the time.
oh really? Oh jeez. Um, so coming to the last question, what's your favorite food dish?
My favorite food dish. Oh, it's just changed so much because, weirdly enough, in the past sort of 5 or 6 years, the
Mm-hmm.
band all gone. The whole band has gone from being full English breakfast eating meat eaters to vegan and plant based.
Oh, okay.
So we've started discovering it's great because when you're on the road, it's a whole adventure because in between the gigs, you're driving somewhere and we have to Google and find where there's some fantastic vegan restaurant on the journey. And you meet people and you find people who've created all sorts of different meals and stuff.
I'm glad that you guys decided to go from full English breakfast to full or semi plant based because the full English breakfasts, from what I've been told, are kind of hearty and stick to your ribs in a good and bad sort of way.
Yeah. But I guess in answer to your question, It's there's so many different things, but I do now love. I still love pizza, and even though I try not to eat a lot of bread type carbs and stuff,
Mhm.
and I was going to say that my gratis spaghetti alioli, which is spaghetti with oil and garlic.
Oh, nice.
So she cooks that, and it's that's got a history because when we were in years ago we were in Sicily,
Mhm.
and a guy they were fighting. We finished this blues. It was a blues festival, and we finished the show at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and people were fighting over who was going to feed the band. You know how they are in Sicily. And, this
Well,
guy
that's good.
who had a restaurant, who owned the restaurant, opened up the restaurant and himself cooked spaghetti alioli. And then Grazia cooks it. Her mother used to cook it for us, and so that's probably my two things: spaghetti alioli, but only if it's cooked right. It's got to
Mm.
be cooked right. But like you can go to somewhere like Grazia can whip it up in 10 minutes in Italy, and it would be this like it would be an expensive restaurant in England, Italian restaurant. But then
Mhm.
otherwise, a vegan pizza is great when you can find a good one.
Yeah. Well,
Because
the
something that I
cauliflower.
miss is obviously I try not to have too much, bread type stuff, and obviously the vegan cheese and everything. So, but we found a place in a place called Brighton in
Mhm.
Sussex on the coast. It's a nice little town in England, and we found there's a whole vegan plant-based Italian pizzeria restaurant,
Oh, nice.
and that's fantastic. That's fantastic. But otherwise, it's Grazia making spaghetti alioli. That's right. We'll make some. I'm sure she'll make some for you when we come to Canada.